It's the 1st of January. Happy New Year to everybody. Tonight is the race number 8 of the T2.5 World Tour. I hope the hangovers are not too bad. I'm looking forward to it. It's my first race that I've done in the series for quite a long time. So it's a good chance. I've just been busy. It's good to be able to get on and get another one done. Bear with me a second. Hi, Mum. Yeah, happy New Year to you and Dad. Yeah. Dinner? Yeah. When were you thinking? Oh, today? Yeah, it'd be good to get everyone together. Yeah. Yeah, she'd love to see you as well. Yeah, what time are you thinking? 6 o'clock? Any chance we could do a little bit at... Oh, it's the only time you can do. What about maybe tomorrow? Are you busy as well? Okay. Yeah, no worries. We'll be there. Yeah, your place, yeah? Okay. Yeah, see you then. Yep, cheers, bye. Damn. 3 laps of the Classique Reverse in London then for Tour race number 8. Let's see who we've got footage from. We have got here in the B's PZZU. I can see C. White, Noel Slevin, C. Moore, N. Corbin, M. Way in there. Quite a few recognisable faces. We also have N. Barber in the C's with John Bushell, M. Coogs, George, L. Connor, J. Lee in there as well. Back in the B's, we have C. Waring. Currently second place. There's a bit of a gap opening up in there already. A few people a couple of seconds behind. I'm sure that'll come back together though now in the B's. Jonesy out the front there. And actually, our next footage is Jonesy. Is he going for it early doors, trying to create a gap? See Waring behind in big numbers or larger numbers than normal to try and catch. And then in the DCAT, we have A. Mott. A nice big DCAT here, 15 riders. I see A. Evans, C. Cross, L. Warrior, S. Pye, I. Ferguson, A. Hugavine, and a few other people in there as well. So a nice big D category. And of course, being the London route, this has a long lead-in before you even start the actual laps of the Classique route. You've got to kind of make your way up to that area of London. But still only 14.5 kilometres or 14.5 miles left as A. Mott has got his in miles. The B group just got to the bottom of that little climb up towards the central area for the Classique circuit. C. Waring slightly off the front. Jonesy putting out orange numbers, 10.3 watts per kilo, up over 11. I wonder if he's trying to make a bit of a breakaway. Some of the others now match those orange numbers. I wonder whether this is an attempt to split the group early. Definitely flying up this little hill here. Everyone trying to hang on to the back. I wonder whether anyone will get dropped. He kind of... I was going to say he dropped off slightly going over the top, but he's still doing over nearly 5 watts per kilo, just as the rider sits back into the saddle on the screen. You can see there's a couple of people just behind with C. White, C. Waring, M. Way, N. Corbin, all still kind of together. I want to see if that comes back together, as the same is now happening with the C group. They're climbing, but they're definitely staying all together as a group. Nobody shooting off the front or the back. But Jay Lee has fallen 15 seconds off the back, unfortunately. And if we have a look over towards the D's are doing the same. Reached the group in the same sort of time, but there are a couple of people off the front there. C. Cross. Is there someone else off the front there as well? I don't think so. C. Cross is 10 seconds ahead. S. Pye is slightly ahead of the group as well. Looking towards the back, I can see Neil Brandon and I. Davies possibly falling off the back a little bit. Maybe this downhill here is a chance to catch on to the back of the group. Let's just jump back over here. The B groups come back together again. I kind of expected that. They've got a lot more ability to kind of put out bursts of power and close gaps than I normally have in the DCAT. That's for sure. Just over 3 kilometres in, and this D group are slowly closing on C. Cross. But he did put a message out to Sam to see if they've got... And I see Sam's sort of no chance. I haven't got the legs for it. I think that he was hoping that they get off the front together. It was interesting because the pack dynamic changed and Sam went to the front of the main pack And everyone seemed to up the power very slightly, I think, to try and prevent that from happening. Very interesting to see. No, the other groups are pretty much together, apart from the guys that have fallen slightly off the back. We've got the Bs all together. Still a little way to go yet before we enter the first lap. The Cs, again, pretty much together. Jay Lee, unfortunately, fallen off the back slightly. Well, it'll be interesting to see. It's a very flat course this now from this point. So, yeah, be interesting to see if there's anyone who makes attempted breakaways at any point. Just spotted this in the C group. Craig really kindly offering to, wondering whether the group will slow down to allow John, who's had a technical, to catch on. A lot of the guys, I love this group, it's amazing. Everyone's saying, yeah, we'll slow down and allow that to happen. John then jumps in and says, no, it's okay, carry on. But at this point, M. Barber has dropped right down to 0 watts per kilo, and unfortunately, the group disappears off ahead. Then whacks the pedals down in the hope to catch on to the back. So I really hope that later in this ride, or in this race, he can catch back up onto that group, or they might slow down slightly to allow that to happen. And they did. The group came back together. That's great sportsmanship, guys. Awesome to see. Let's have a look and see. We've got here C. Waring. Is he off the front? Maybe by a couple of meters, 5 meters, with his Happy New Year hat on. C. White just behind. There's no split really in this group yet. Let's see it from a few different angles. Everyone's kind of still riding together. I'm sure there's be some point where someone makes the attempt to go full blast off the front and split the group. But that might, as we've seen with the Bees before, that might happen right towards the end. If we ever look at the D group, are they all still together? Everyone in here is still pretty much together, apart from the guys that have fallen slightly off the back, who are now 50 seconds behind as they're about to go down. We've got a fair distance still to go. 6.2 miles. I feel weird talking in miles. 6.2 miles left. 8.6 miles left. 6.2 miles gone. I'll get there in the end. Bees are just heading up towards the start-finish line to start the second lap. Kind of all together. Noel's slightly off the front. Oh, he's going for a sprint, is he? Or is he just trying to trick people? 9-10 watts per kilo with him and Jonesy there as well. And the Freak behind going. Seymour as well. Trying to split this group a little bit, possibly. Let's change to a different angle so we can see some of the... Is anyone going to get left behind and dropped off the back from this sprinting? Or are they going to ease back off and come back together, as we've seen a few times in previous races with the B group? Still in a bit of a... bit strung out down the road. See it from Pavel, who's fallen a little bit off the back here. Keep going, mate. You can catch up. And that high red numbers now. Tucking in behind C. White as well. Have to see if that sticks. Whilst we see if that sticks, let's have a look at the D-Cat. They're all still together quite happily. Over at the... we've already looked at the B-Cat. Let's have a look at the C's. Again, they're all together. So it's kind of... It's all happening in the B's at the moment. Is this group that has gone off the front here going to drop a couple of riders who can't quite catch up? Keep going. Keep pushing. See if he can catch back on. Very strung out. There's a little group. There's a Jonesy off the front, I think, with Noel also trying to take that to bridge that gap with a little group of 4 people here. It's kind of quite spread out down the road. See Jonesy on his way out the front. Another big red effort, prolonged red effort there to break the group up. Looks like it could be coming back together slightly. Jonesy's got a 5-second lead over Pavel, who's putting in lots of red efforts to try and latch back onto this group. Obviously, Pavel's stepping up to the B-Cat relatively recently, so doing really, really well. And I think it looks like that might come back together again. Awesome racing, guys. The B group did come back together. We're 25 minutes in. Jonesy held a pace off the front with Noel for a little while, I think, trying to just spread it out again as much as possible. But it did come back together in the end. Again, the same with the other categories, kind of riding together. I haven't seen anybody make an attack off any of the other groups. They're all still together as a category in the C's. In the D's, I've just noticed Sam's dropped off the back 16 seconds behind. He was pacing out the front for a little while, so unfortunately dropping slightly off. Oh, I can see I've missed this. Seacross and Ahugaveen have gone, and Seashall, and now 11 seconds up the road. I completely missed that happening. So I was wrong. Attacks have happened in the other categories. So the three of them off the front there then, and then we've got A. Evans, Ahugaveen in this group, Stewie, I. Ferguson, I've said A. Evans, it's moving around a lot. Just watching the B group as they come towards the start-finish line to start the third lap. This is where the action has been. It's spreading out again a little bit. I noticed that's D. Stark off the front. Apologies if I got that wrong before. I noticed the Electric Sprint name, and I assumed it was Noel before. So apologies if I've got that wrong in the earlier parts of this race. But it's definitely spreading this group out again. See Waring putting down some numbers here to try and coast back up to the front. Has it done anything yet as the group's come back together by the looks of it? There's just that continual attack off the front. It's great to watch. Absolutely brilliant. People heading into the red numbers just to hang on to the back of the group as it splits slightly, not wanting to lose at the back of the draft, because that can signify the end of your race if you do. This is the Seacat. Again, pretty much wanting to go into, is that John's gone off the front maybe here with George, 7.7 watts per kilo trying to catch, all going a lap before the end, trying to break the group behind, maybe get a little bit of space out front, make the rest of the race a little bit easier. And I think, is this going to come back together as well? Looks like it might do. A message there by John and George from Craig. Come on, Craig, you can latch back onto the back of there. You can do it. Let's have a look if anything's happening in the Ds. We've got that front group. See, Shaw now's got a 2-second head lead over Ahugaveen. I think that'll come back together. And see Cross, this group that we've got back here, still sticking together. And then back 20 seconds to S-Pi. But the main part of that group together, and then look back at the B group, and the same's happened there. They've come back together again as well. I'm going to keep an eye out on this one, because no doubt someone will attack at some point. There's 5 kilometres left to go. Here we go then, another attack. Jonesy, Noel off the front. Chris White also up towards 13 watts per kilo. Orange numbers throughout the field, trying to catch on the front. Jonesy seems to be able to put out some numbers, some red zone effort for quite a long time. Wonder if whether he can make this one stick. Lose a couple of people off the back maybe. Let's have a look at the group here, all trying to catch up behind. Seymour, 6.1 watts per kilo. Is Chris going to catch onto that front group? This could split the group. If we can hang on to the split down this little hill, there's a chance it could stick. Let's go back to Pavel, who's trying to latch on as well. It is slightly coming back together. Looks like the group behind might just about do enough. And they have, I think, to bring that group back together again. Amazing racing. Absolutely brilliant to watch. Amott in the front of that little group there. They're all still pretty much together. And then we'll head over to the C's as well, who have brought back in John and George. So heading into the final 2.6 miles as it is. So the B's heading towards that little hairpin turn at the end, where I think the attacking might start as the chase starts towards the finish line. You can see it's already a little bit spread out on the road. Pavel putting out the red numbers to try and hang on to the back here. See Waring, is anyone going to go as the corner turns? Sometimes this can be an attack point. Way up at 6.4. Chris 4.1. No one really has gone for that yet. You can see there's a little gap forming if you look at the dots. As you can see, Chris slightly off into the distance now. Got himself a bit of a gap, Christopher. As some of the other guys come up behind here. Who is going to go first? Who is going to jump first? There's still 800 metres left to go. Pretty early to go. I thought someone might have gone on that corner to catch people sleeping. But it's pretty much together as a group. D. Stark, unfortunately, has dropped 6 seconds off the back. As we're going to make that tiny little left turn before being able to see the finish line. Christopher Waring now has made that gap up to 5 seconds. Has he done enough already? Is Way having to go for it to try and close that gap? Let's have a look at it from Christopher Waring's point of view. He's into the final 250 metres almost. Pavel's a little further back. And let's have a look at it from this point of view. Can Jonesy do anything to try and catch the guys in front of him? Christopher Waring, I think, is going to win this one. M-Way up at 7 watts per kilo. Not yet the orange numbers I was kind of expecting. Jonesy's going to go for it. Is that an attempt to catch M-Way? I think it's a little bit late to do that, but is he going to keep the guys behind him that are probably chasing as well? Jonesy's going to take it. N. Slevin, C. White. There's a few of the others cross the line as well. We'll have to see the final results when we review them in a minute. We've now got the Sea-Cat heading towards the line. W. Piatek's gone off the front with El Connor. They've got a 1 second lead. John Bushell, usually strong legs. Can he close that gap as well? Got M. Barber not far behind with George as well. Craig, unfortunately, with Matty Coogs fallen 5 seconds off the back of that group. He's anyone to attack this into the final corner as we're about to come up to here. I can't work in miles. Final 0.3 miles, whatever that is in kilometres. Who's going to go first? Is anyone going to go first? John putting down slightly bigger numbers off the front, and Barber trying to match them as well. All in just above, nearly towards 5 watts per kilo for everybody. I think M. Barber's taken out the front. Who's going to go for this? It's in feet, 700 feet to go. Is anyone going? This is big red numbers here for M. Barber. Can he take the win? 10 watts per kilo. John Bushell just behind. Can't match it yet. Is there anything left? And I think M. Barber's going to win this one up at huge watts. Huge orange watts. Great win. Well done. That's awesome. Let's jump back to the D group and watch those guys across. So we see Cross, A. Hugavine and C. Shawl. We're not going to be able to see over the line, but I think the win's going to come from that group because I can't see that time gap being caught up by the group behind. Is anyone going to attack from this group? Into the final stretch for the Ds then. C. Shawl, A. Hugavine and C. Cross out the front. We're not going to quite see the race between those guys, but is someone going to go from behind here? We've got A. Evans, L. Warrior, A. Mott, I. Ferguson, all within a chance of taking, I think, someone out. Is C. Cross, Stewie, who's going to come in fourth, I think. Not going to necessarily be caught on the line. Possibly will be. A. Mott over 6.7 watts per kilo. O. Ferguson just behind. Is he going to catch him on the line? No, it's going to go next to A. Mott in fifth. I. Ferguson and Latix Warrior, I think, just behind. Incredible racing. It's so much fun watching the other races come together. Let's take a look at the final results. There was some great racing to watch there. Watching the breakaways that are attempted in the B-Cat and seeing the groups come back together and then more attempted breakaways. It's just brilliant to watch. Let's take a look at the results, starting with the A-Cat. So we had 3 riders in the A-Cat this week. John Guthrie winning it, 36.30. Ben Bishop in second, and John in just over an hour. I'm not quite sure whether John wasn't quite right or what, but coming in third place. In the overall standings, we're finally at that eight race mark. So this is where it's going to start moving around a little bit. It won't just be based upon number of rides done. John is still the ever present in the category. I don't think he's going to be doing any more races. I wish you well, John, and I hope you have a speedy recovery. And there are a couple of there's one double points race and 1.5 point race coming up. So whilst John has taken a lot of the races at 80 points, there's still a bit of a chance to catch up. There's a few of the guys, Eric and Ben, who've done a fair few races already. So it'll be good to see how that changes over the coming weeks. On to the B-Cat. Christopher Waring winning it, 36.46. A couple of seconds ahead in the end, pulling away very, very early and making it stick. Ahead of Mark Way, 36.51. We saw how close this was towards the line. Just seconds between Josh Jonesy, Noel, Colin, Pavel. It was just so much fun to watch. Noel still the ever-present, and so is Pavel, bringing his points up from the Sea-Cat, ever-present as well. Chris White, only one race behind with Dave Stark as well. Chris Jups missed a couple. So, as I said, this is going to be the point where that table moves around a lot as we take the best 8 results. Let's have a look at the C category. Neil Barber winning this one, 38.11. Wojciech Piatek, 3 seconds behind there. John Bushell as well, we saw trying to make a breakaway at one point. Lindsay Connor in 4th, George Evans 38.27. Very close finishing times across that group as well. Kind of, I guess, slightly more expected in a very flat race. George Evans still top of the group at the moment. Missed one race. One race missed by Matty Coogs, one by Craig. So we're going to start hitting those 9, 10, 11 races. These are going to start moving around a little bit. So that's going to be good to see. Into the DCAT. Connor Shaw winning this one, 39.46. Second ahead of A. Hugaveen. Chris Cross, 39.51. So we didn't quite see that sprint to the line for those guys. Stewie, I missed where Stewie jumped off the front of the group. So I'm sorry for missing that one. But Andy Mott coming in 5th place. And we saw again how close that was for the next few riders over the line as well. We've got some ever presents in here. Latix, Andrew Evans, Neil Brandon are all ever presents in that. So we'll see how they move around as the following races come up. Talking about following races, the next one is the 15th of January, 10 o'clock in the morning UK time. And we're hitting Watopia for 5 laps of the flat route. 1.5 times points available for this one, and the longest one of the series at just under 52 kilometres. Now, as I have for the others, I'm fully intending on being there for that race. The thought of doing 52 kilometres in my current state is going to be interesting. I want to try and get a few races in the meantime. That's going to be more of just a ride around, I think, for me to try and get to the end. And what I'm really interested to see in that one is how other groups approach it, whether it's going to be a very slow in parts and then sort of go towards the finish line, or are there going to be groups that try and attack as we go? We've never done a race quite this distance in our group, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. Again, really annoyed that I couldn't be there at this race. I've got some work to do now to catch up, to get up to my 8 races that I need to do, to be any hope of moving up the leaderboard in any way. I'm just going to have to try my hardest to get to the following races that we've got coming up. But yeah, frustrating as that is, it's still great fun to watch everybody else be able to see the footage and see you guys racing, because it's just great fun to watch, especially when I do it. I don't watch any of the videos in advance. I watch them as I'm recording and seeing what is happening on the screen, which in a way is a bit of a shame, because I kind of back away from the conversation after the races so that I don't kind of see what happened. But it's great to watch it live for the first time, so you see it how I see it first time off. But I want to say a huge thank you, as usual, to all the channel supporters going up the screen right now. Your support is amazing. If it's something you're interested in, the link is in the description below at Buy Me a Coffee. Come along to the next races. T2.5, we do rides on a Tuesday. Is just a casual unbanded ride. We ride at about 1.5 to 2 watts per kilo. Kind of keep the whole group together. Thursday night is our usual race night. We do varying races from TT races. It's usually a bit of a chase race where the higher level categories go a little bit later and try and catch the ones in front. Always leads to some brilliant racing. And Saturday mornings we do a banded group ride where you can go as hard as you want, 5 watts per kilo, 1 watt per kilo, whatever it is. The sort of rubber banding effect that you get in Zwift keeps us all together. Jump on and do a workout at the same time, whatever it is, and we tend to jump onto Discord and have a chat as well. So if that's something you're interested in, all our rides are in the description below. And then obviously on the 10th of January, we've got the next race for the World Tour, race number 9. But that is it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, do hit like and subscribe. If you want to see the last video for this tour race, I'll put it in the link on the side here. But yeah, I'll see you on the next one.